Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session. Nice to see some familiar names from last week. We've started the recording, so let's just hit the ground running. Hi, everyone. If you haven't met me from last week, my name is Ilan Asbel. I'm CEO of AutoChartist. We're a market analytics and analysis platform that Vantage provides to you free of charge as a live account holder. Today's an educational session. You don't need to pay for the product at all, so no one's trying to sell you anything. So let's learn together. It's a second in a series of 3 webinars. Last week was about the very basics of AutoChartist. Today we're going to be a little bit more in depth about which other indicators to use with it and finding the best trading opportunities. Next week is around risk management. So before I get going, the lawyers want you to look at your screen and read this disclaimer. So I'll give you 15 seconds to go over that disclaimer. Okay, let's get going. I'll first give you a 2-minute summary of what we did last week. If you log into your Vantage client portal, if you go into Trader Tools Plus and you click on Research Hub, in last week's webinar, we spoke all about these trading opportunities here. These trade setups. We spoke about support and resistance levels, overbought, oversold levels, and what they mean in terms of market psychology. We spoke about key levels, chart patterns, and all kinds of fun stuff like that. If you didn't watch that video, go back and watch it. Today, a lot of the question, well, there was quite a few questions last week that came up, and I kind of know this from other webinars I've given, is that people really want to try and figure out what are the best trading opportunities that we need to follow, right? Because AutoChartist produces so many of them, right? So even just on the screen, one screen here, there are, a couple of dozen trades that you can trade, right? So which ones should you be following, right? And so we'll talk, and that's really the topic of today's conversation. What we'll also do in today's conversation is spend a bit of time inside MetaTrader. Uh, uh, Before I go on with that, Martin, you asking a question, is last week's webinar going to be available at Vantage's YouTube channel? Martin, I'm surprised that if it's not available already. Let me follow up with the guys at Vantage and figure out why they haven't posted that. They might be editing it a little bit or something. But don't you want to pop me an email and maybe send an email to this email address and ask, if the webinar will be available, brokersupport@autochartist.com, and we'll liaise with the Vantage people and get them to send you guys the recording. So anyway, back to my presentation. So in today's webinar, we'll also be spending a bit of time inside MetaTrader. And so if you haven't done so already, click on this research tools section under ProTrader Tools Plus and download the market scanner MetaTrader plugin. If you download that and you install it in your MetaTrader, then what will happen is that you will end up with a little AutoChartist expert advisor in your meta. And we'll use that quite a bit today in some real trading scenarios. But let me first go back to the website and look at the research hub. So as we mentioned last week, AutoChartist identifies all of these very important support resistance levels, technical chart patterns, which are normally, you have to use your visual cortex to to identify them. Does a pretty good job with them. But really the question is, how do you trade them, and which ones should you be trading and which ones shouldn't you be trading? Okay, so in general, if I look at the search criteria, the the easiest ones to trade are the key levels, the key levels patterns, right? And those are these horizontal levels. And I did mention last week around, the breakouts, they provide you a target region, right? But the emerging patterns don't provide a target region. They're still moving towards a certain level. And we discussed how, you have three possible scenarios of actually trading this kind of approaching level on this example, GBP JPY here. You can either trade at the spot or breakout or reversion. And I actually want to show you other ways of now filtering what you're doing in the market. So what I'm going to do is the easiest way for me to do that is go into our meta and drop the Order Chartist Expert Advisor onto the chart. And we'll just give this just a moment to bring up all the information. It's fetching a whole bunch of market info and stuff from our servers. And we should get a little Order Chartist screen on. There we go. There we go. We got a little Order Chartist screen. And so one of the things the first way I want to show you of filtering these trading opportunities, other than obviously using the filter tab, is to click on this little world icon. And when you click on this little world icon, it requests some information. And the one I want to look at right now is this thing called performance statistics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the performance statistics into a new browser tab for myself. And here are the performance statistics of Order Chartist over the last 12 months. Now, I know there's some big numbers here, 75, 81. These numbers do not represent how much money you would have made. These numbers represent how often Order Chartist forecasts have hit their target region, right? So it actually tells you the statistics below measure how many patterns hit their forecast level, right? So it's not about how much money you would have made, right? You wouldn't have doubled your money, right? It's just trying to skew the probability of success in your direction, right? And so again, one thing I do need to note from a legal perspective is that past performance may not be indicative of future performance, right? Just because the weather forecast says it's going to be 70% chance of rain doesn't mean there's going to be rain today, right? Right. Sometimes there might not be rain. So it's really the same thing with statistics. But certainly, let me walk you through a couple of these things, stats, so you understand what we're talking about. I'm assuming that in this presentation, most of you are FX traders. If you're not an FX trader, won't you just drop me a question letting me know what you trade, or in the chat window, just let me know what you're trading. Maybe I can show one or two other asset classes. But I think what I'll do is I'll probably focus on currencies for now. So when we click on the performance stats for technical chart patterns, right, we're talking about the breakout chart patterns. Breakout chart patterns, let me remind you what those are. Those are these over here. Let me show you that. I'm going to click chart patterns breakout. Those are these kind of chart patterns, right? You have a support level and a resistance level and a target area, right? So what we're doing in these statistics that we're looking at now is looking at these kind of breakout patterns. So over the last year, we've identified about, looks like 32,000 of these things, of which 21,500 reached their target level. Overall, that's a 67% hit rate of hitting the target level. However, this is not really the important bit. The important bit in these statistics is actually, for me, in the pattern section, the symbol section, and actually, do we have the hour of day? Oh, we don't have the hour of day here. Well, I'll give you anecdotally what that means. But really, the pattern and the symbol are very, very important. So we're very transparent about what is done well and what is done badly. So we can see over the last year, pennant patterns have done really, really badly. But head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, those are consistently good winners. Rectangles, ascending triangles, really high. Descending triangles, really high. And so it kind of gives you an idea of which types of trade setups have actually done well over the last year. And the same thing with the currencies themselves, right? So we can see we've done well on the yen, pound, Singapore dollar, Canadian dollar, Aussie loonie has done well, Euro GBP. Although these are the highlighted ones that are 70% or more, obviously anything for me, anything over 65 is pretty amazing. uh, but um, but anyway, I urge you to have a look at these statistics. And so when one trades, has a possible trade, you can use these stats to evaluate, how good this is. So let's say Euro USD, it looks like a falling wedge on 60-minute candles. Let's look at our stats. Falling falling wedge, 67% chance over the last year. Euro USD, I can't find it. Euro USD. Oh, here it is, Euro USD, 69%. We've been pretty good on Euro USD on the completed chart patterns. That's pretty good, right? Okay. And so you start getting an idea of the success of what interval. This was on 60-minute data, right? So this was 60-minute data. You can see over here. So we can have a look at the data interval, 60-minute data in general in the high 60s. And so, quite an interesting pattern. This one specifically is kind of moving against the trend. The trend was definitely down. The euro has been depreciating against the dollar over the last few days. Is there a way to, is it going to turn around? Maybe a risky trade. I'm not a huge fan of trading against the trend, but maybe there is some consolidation happening in the market right now that could push it up to that price level. Um, and so one you could use these stats to filter what you're trading. Now, if you are lazy like me, you want to look for a shortcut, and there is a shortcut to doing that where you don't have to look at the stats all the time. But before I show you that shortcut, I'm going to show you a couple more stats. All right. So the other two sets of statistics we have on currencies are breakout key levels and approaching key levels. So let's look at what breakout key levels look like first on the screen. So breakout key levels are horizontal levels through which there's been a price breakout, right? So horizontal levels, and then we provide a forecast region. So these statistics that I'm going to show you next are the likelihood that the price will move towards those levels on the breakout of the support or the support and resistance levels. So we can see the stats have gone up dramatically, on average up to 77%. We've identified just under 25,000 of these things, or 24,000 of these things over the last year. About 18.5 have gone to their target region, on average 77%. But really, I think the important part again is to look at the patterns, to look at the outliers in terms of extraordinary performance for these opportunities, right? So pound Swissy has done extraordinarily well. Australian Aussie loonie, Aussie Swissy. There's been a couple of exceptional performers. In general, it has been my experience that the horizontal key levels are really the market psychology kind of thinks around market conditions around horizontal levels and less about trends. And so I've been in the markets for, well, over 25 years now. And again and again, people try to identify trends, but really when you look at the market in general, there's always these levels that instruments keep coming back to that are very indicative of something that's going to happen. Either they're going to continue through those levels, or they're going to revert outside, back against those levels. And so these key levels are really, really important. So that's one way of filtering out if you really want some high probability trades. And again, past performance is not indicative of future performance, right? Very, very important. But certainly these horizontal levels really give you a way to filter for high probability trades. The last one that I want to show you is these emerging key levels. These are a little tricky And let me show you what those look like, right? So these are these opportunities here. We spoke about them extensively in the previous last week's webinar. These are these important horizontal levels, but they haven't yet broken through. There's still, the price is still moving towards those levels. Okay. And so the idea around statistics for these opportunities is we test them if they trade at the spot price and target price at the level. Again, last week's webinar, we spoke about the 3 different ways of trading this, using stop orders, limit orders, or spot prices. But for the purposes of these stats, we're just testing what is the likelihood of the price moving, actually touching that level that we've identified as that important level, right? And these stats are really, really high. You can see for currencies, like north of 80% probability of hitting those target levels. But before you think you're going to run off and become a gazillionaire, I want to point out something very important, which I sometimes think really skews these stats a little bit. And that is the fact that on these emerging key levels, the price sometimes is very, very close to the level. Okay, so there isn't a lot of room to move. So unless you're kind of watching the markets every minute of the day, sometimes very difficult to take advantage of these movements, especially if you're looking at, 15-minute data where, this price movement is only 10 or 15 pips, right? And you really have to watch that the spread doesn't kill your trade either. Right? So yes, the likelihood, as you can see by these statistics, is really high of reaching those target levels. I feel that they are a little bit skewed because we haven't taken into account the size of the movement, right? The size of the movement on the breakout key levels or the breakout chart patterns, those sizes are much, 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 much bigger, right? So the stats are smaller, but the movements are much more significant. Now, if you want to look at the stats in depth, they're made available to you. Just a reminder of how to get to them. You literally click on the little world icon. It takes 5 or 10 seconds and generates you this performance stats link, which you just copy and paste into your browser. But lucky for you, Vantage has actually subscribed to one of our more premium services for you, and we call that Our Favorites. And you can find that again under Pro Trader Tools Plus Research Hub. Click on Our Favorites. And what this tool does is that it merges, let's just look at currencies, it merges all the trading opportunities that are currently available on the market together with the stats and allows you to set a minimum probability of success. If, let's say, I want to see all the technical setups that have a past performance potential hit rate of over 70%, I literally just select currencies, 70%. And what Order Charters does is it merges all those trading opportunities with the stats and give you the highest probability events, right? You can push it to 70, you can push it to 75. You can ask for miracles and push it to 80%. I'm not sure if anything. Oh wow, there is something at 80%. But these are for some exotic pairs, right? So actually not the USD Swiss franc. That's quite a big one. But a Chinese yuan and Norwegian krona, those are some minors, right? You probably don't want to trade those. Spreads are probably really, really big and will kill the trade. But certainly there's some very, very interesting opportunities. But again, just because you choose 80% doesn't mean it's the way to trade profitably, but certainly this is a very quick way, a shortcut of getting the most likely successful trades based on past performance, in a just one view without having to look at all the trading opportunities and then merge it with the stats, right? So it's a pretty handy little tool. This Our Favorites. Let's quickly move to. I've been talking for 20 minutes already, so let me take a sip of water and move into Meta. This information is actually also available in Meta. The nice thing about the Meta plugin is that the opportunities that come up on your order charts window in MetaTrader have already been filtered for the instruments you have in your market watch window. So if you only have 4 or 5 instruments in your market watch window, then those are the only ones that will come up here. And our favorites window is this hidden little thing, this little drop down. Many people miss it. It's probably one of the most valuable little drop down buttons you'll ever use in your trades. And again, thanks to Vantage, they literally pay a lot more for this product at Order Chartist for you to get this. So if you, for example, click on 70% or more, what essentially you're getting is, in this situation, the 4 trade setups that are available in the market right now, filtered by a market window, and filtered again by past performance stats, right? And let's see what those look like, right? So if you click on view, let's see what those things look like. Once you click view, it just takes a moment to come up again. And so Order Chartist believes that there's a higher than 70% probability of the price going up to that gray area over there, right, on pound yen. Just be careful of pound yen. It's the killer of retail traders. The volatility is sometimes too much for people to handle. Just be careful when you trade pound yen. This is another interesting one. Pound Swiss franc, 4 hourly. There was a channel up. We can see a very strong breakout, a movement towards that level, a slight retracement, but Order Chartist believes that there is a 70% likelihood, again, based on past performance, and past performance may not be indicative of future performance, make the legal team happy, of the price moving towards this gray area, around 1.105, right? So real interesting trade setups. Let's look at this one, Euro GBP. This is an emerging horizontal resistance level. Let's see if we've touched it already. Oh, okay, we haven't. So this is an interesting one. This is a 4-hourly pattern on euro pound. And Order Chartist believes that based on past performance, there's a 70% likelihood that this price will hit again, right? Very interesting. And GBP USD. One thing, I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of stuff happening on the pound right now. Right? Pound yen, pound Swissy, euro pound, pound dollar. I love seeing things like that. For me, that means that something's going on the pound. And then so here again, Order Chartist thinks that again a 70% likelihood of hitting this level over here. And again, you don't have to set it to 70%. You can set it to 60%. You can, for me, a really it's about just filtering down and then going through each thing and choosing what you want, right? You could just not filter at all and just go through every trade setups and choose what you like. But I find that, I guess my experience tells me, you should never force a trade, right? There's always trading opportunities available in the market, right? Choose the 1 or 2 or 3 that you like and trade those, right? Don't trade, never trade blindly. I hope you all are still with me on this. Okay, just before we carry on other methodologies to filter out some of the best trades, um, uh, um, uh, if you guys, if you want to ask a question, don't raise your hand. Why don't you just put it into the question and answer section, the question section? Then I can. Marco, I can't really let you talk. I don't have those permissions. If you can just ask the question in the Q&A section, then I can come and answer your question. But anyway, needless to say, um, uh, uh, I also want to tell you that our favorite trade setups, is also available in the Order Chartist mobile application. So if you click on this little cell phone icon and follow these instructions, right? So download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store download Autochartist, look for Autochartist, download it, and there's a button that says login using QR code. And once you do that, you just scan this QR code that's on the screen, and you'll be allowed into the app. And so these, then you can get alerts whenever there's a new our favorite alert. You'll actually get a little message on your mobile app. All right, and you can select which instruments you want to be alerted for, and the minimum probabilities and all that. So you can do that. And I see an anonymous attendee wants us to look at gold. I don't. Do I have anything on gold at the moment? Let's quickly see if I have anything on gold. Maybe on some lower time frames. Let's quickly check if we have anything on gold. Anonymous attendee, give us your name. Let's see if I have anything on gold. XAG, I've got something on silver. Okay, 15-minute support on gold. Let's see what we say for the very short term on gold. Okay. Well, clearly a very, very strong support level on gold, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that. Autochartist picked that up pretty well. What support at around, what is that? 1933.50 approximately. I can't tell exactly. So, you know, so if you don't know which direction to trade, right? You could always take some kind of straddle. I don't know if you guys are comfortable with straddles, how advanced you guys are. I'm going a little bit off topic about how to select your best trades. Let me say a word about that. The way to trade a straddle, and Google it if you like. If you see this kind of massive consolidation and you're expecting either a huge move up or a huge move down, there are trading strategies that can be used to take advantage of that. So for example, what you would do with a straddle is you would set a stop order to go long with a stop loss, like something like this, and a stop order to go short with a stop loss over here, right? So if you're expecting a massive move after this consolidation period, there are some trading strategies that you can use to take advantage of those moves. Anyway, so I've deviated. There. I want to spend a few minutes on. I'm just going to remove these lower time frames and just bring up some of the higher time frames. It makes it easier to consume, right? There's less opportunities. Many of you have your own trading styles, and you might not want to use these past performance statistics to filter your trades, right? Because you're trading, maybe using other technical indicators. And so I want to show you how you can actually do that. So I'm going to click on this first example here. What is this? The pound on the daily chart looks like it's broken through a support level and potentially moving down to the gray area. So it typically amongst you, there's probably two kinds of traders. The two kinds of traders are either trend traders or mean reversion traders. Sometimes we call mean reversion traders swing traders. And so really depending on the style of trader you are, you can do certain things to eliminate certain opportunities. So for example, if you're a trend trader, and I'm just going to be really simple, I'm going to add a moving average to this thing. So you can see very quickly that the price of pound has been going up for quite a few weeks now. All right, the pound has been strengthening against the US dollar, and the last couple of weeks or so, it's been depreciating against the dollar. Right, you can see the last maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so. Otherwise, the last few months has been appreciating. And now the question is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here. Bear with me while I zoom in. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. So there's been a breakout. And the question is, if you're a trend trader, are the question for you is there going to be a change in the trend? Because it's absolutely clear that the trend over the last few months has been up. The short-term trend over the last few weeks has been down. And the question is really, is there going to be a fundamental change in the long-term trend of the pound, right? And so the way that many of you trend traders out there would do is look at another indicator. So I've added a 14 candle moving average indicator in here. And what we found is that the direction of the indicator, along with the direction of the current momentum of the price and the breakout together, are quite a strong indication of the upcoming trend. Again, never guarantees in the market for anything. But so in this situation here, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, AutoCharts is giving me a contrarian view, right? The long-term trend is most certainly up, the very long-term trend. The short-term trend is down, but my short-term moving average is also pointing down, right? And so do they correspond? Yes, they do. Maybe there is a possibility to trade this. Personally, I'm not sure this is enough of a trend on the moving average. I might want to wait. There is lots of room here, right? So we might want to wait for one more day, maybe, of confirmation and a continuation in this trend in the moving average to confirm the breakout, right? Uh, and uh, and that will and maybe at that point in time, don't rush it, but at that point in time, once you confirm the breakout with another indicator, then you could take a short position, right? Let's look at another example. Oh, I don't want to look at pound yen. I don't know why I chose pound yen. I'm always scared to show pound yen opportunities. Maybe because I've lost so much money on pound yen in my life, I'm scarred. Okay. Anyway, here's another one. So now this one is quite interesting. This is pound Swissy. We can see that there's been quite a strong breakout over here, very big candle breaking out down. Nicely long downward trend on the moving average. So I like this kind of thing. We can see the breakout was confirmed. There's been a bit of a pullback, but the moving average still pointing down. This might be quite a nice little trade that you could take if you were a momentum trader, right, or a trend trader. Right? However, if you are now want to kind of flip the whole thing on its head, if you're a trend trader, something you probably shouldn't be looking at are things like emerging chart patterns. So, for example, we can see here, this is an emerging chart pattern on Euro Pound, right? Emerging, again, I covered this last week. Emerging means it hasn't yet broken through support or resistance, which means that this kind of opportunity is really more geared towards the swing traders, the guys that are looking to trade these swings rather than the long-term trends. Okay, so now if you're a swing trader, you might start thinking to yourself, well, Ilan, why are you looking at a moving average? Because I'm a swing trader. I don't use moving averages, right? I use some kind of stochastic indicators, right? So let's look at some kind of stochastic or oscillators. Let's look at RSI. Okay, let's look at an appropriate RSI. Let's make it slightly longer term, maybe 2 weeks, because, okay, there we go. So if I'm now looking at this RSI over here, I can see that the kind of RSI, I chose a 2-week RSI. The highs are kind of in line with the highs and lows of the instrument I've selected. And so now the RSI, you see, is kind of moving towards that line. So if you're a swing trader, you might look at this and say, well, the momentum of the RSI is up. The short-term momentum of the euro pound is up. Maybe this is an opportunity now to take a position with a take profit around this level, or you could do something else, right? you could do something like, well, why don't we wait for the RSI to hit this price, right? So we know what that price is going to be. It's going to be around this level here. What is a 0.8714? So if I'm a swing trader, what I'm thinking of doing is waiting for the price to hit that level, and then uh, go short, because I believe the price is going to revert. Okay, because that's what swing traders do. Swing traders don't trade the long-term trends. They trade the kind of the shorter term volatilities. Um, uh, uh, so so um, by that time, if the price hits 0.8714, chances are the RSI is going to be really high, and that is an interesting opportunity for you, to go short. Then as a swing trader, all the stars align, right? Your RSI is high, your price is high. It's already gone through some kind of very big movement, and we're looking for a pullback, right? So, uh, again, if your RSI conflicts with what you're seeing on the graph, then you should just walk away from that trade, right? So really, I wanna challenge you with really three ways of eliminating all the trade opportunities that Autocharters gives you, right? The first way is um, is looking at the past performance stats, right? And you can do that again either by clicking this drop-down list and doing a filter, or just clicking on the little world icon and um, copying and pasting the performance statistics link into your browser, right? And having a look at the past performance statistics, right? The second way of doing it is, if you're a more technical trader with a little bit more experience, don't use those numbers. But if you're a trained trader, use a trending indicator, either you know, moving average, MACD, whatever you use as a trending indicator. If you're a mean reversion trader, or a swing trader, then use uh, uh, an oscillator like Bollinger Band, or a RSI, or a stochastic, or something like this, right? Um, uh, uh, so those are three possible ways in terms of filtering out, right? So never ever trade blind. Always look for things to kind of line up for you, right? Before you place the trade. Very, very important. Okay. I have been talking for 37 minutes. I'm sure all of you are probably falling asleep by now. I hope not. You're not falling asleep. Um, uh, uh, I wonder if there's any questions you'd like to answer. So, Marco, um, I can't really answer your questions. Okay, I can answer the question about the GBP USD moving average. Let me quickly look at GBP USD moving average. Opportunity over here. Let's quickly click on that. Let's wait for it to come up. Yeah, sometimes Autocharters takes a little bit longer, but I think sometimes it's worth the wait. So I put a 14-period moving average on here. Probably not really appropriate. I think we need something much longer term. This thing has happened over months and months and months. So maybe 42-period moving average, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe 28 moving average, kind of, yeah, that looks to be more indicative of the price movement, hey? Yeah, always trying to kind of eyeball whether the moving average really represents the graph. So again, I think it shows that the moving average hasn't yet turned really. I'm not sure about this trade, to be honest. It's a very contrarian trade, very contrarian. You might want to wait for a bit more of a breakout before placing a trade like this. Marco, I hope I've answered your question. Uh, uh, anyway, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today. Next week is, for me, probably one of the most important webinars you'll attend. I'm very passionate about risk management. I cannot tell you how much money I have lost in my trading career. I've won and lost, and risk management is absolutely key. Timing the market and entry is only one part of the equation. Next week, we're going to talk about risk management. Please, please, please join me for that. Same time, same place. I'll see you then. Thank you everyone for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening or the rest of your day, wherever you are in the world.